So what is your podcast going to be about?
I'm asking people what I'm interested in.
Okay.
And you told me that you live your happy life. Is it? Yes. And how do it?
I do it by not being afraid of losing the things I already have. So I worked to make some money, to have a good business, and when I realized that this was not making me happy, I sold the business and I moved on. And I came to a place where I am happy and where I live my life. And I had to make a decision. I could go on making money in the United States, but the money was never going to make me happy. Or I could come to Thailand. I could try to be happy, and even if I spend all my money, I can always go back to the United States and be unhappy and make more, So why not come here and at least try, at least have some good years, and maybe I'll figure out the way to stay and always be happy.
What do you feel in that moment when you have a decision?
I tend to overthink things, so having important decisions for me means spending a long time up in my head, back and forth. Do I do this? If I make this decision, what are the things that are going to come of that? If I make another decision, what are the things that are going to come of that? And I really tend to doubt my own decisions too much. When I used to run my business, I would never smoke ganja because it always made me doubt myself even more. And being a leader is about understanding that sometimes you just have to make a choice and you have to go forward, right? And it's always easy to look back later on and say, oh, I should have done this, I should have done that. You just have to do the best that you can at that time and move forward.
It's so... I have a lot of feelings because you told me about so rational type of thinking about something, because when I had my decision about that I leave my country and go to live a new life, it was very depressed for me. It was very hard, and 2 months of crying and didn't understand what I need to do, why I do it, a lot of questions to myself, a lot, and very I don't know, it was hard for me, like I'm too born this idea by very I have a lot of words in my Russian in my hands, but I think what is depend on, it's depend on because I'm woman and you are man. Because of it, we have so different type of fix our life interesting points when we need to create a new decision.
Or maybe you had more good things back in Russia that you left behind. The only thing that I really miss from the United States is my father. I do have a brother, we're not that close, but I was close with my dad, so I miss my dad a lot. There's really nothing else that I miss in the United States. In a few months in Thailand, I already have more friends than I did back home, and it's just, so maybe you were more attached, maybe you felt like you were really leaving behind things that were important. Also, I started this before COVID. I was ready to move here in early 2020, and then COVID hit, and everything, went strange. So I was ready to move here a few years ago. I feel happier in Chiang Mai than anywhere else I've ever been. Chiang Mai feels like home to me.
I feel the same at the first maybe 20 minutes here. It was amazing to meet the place when I feel like I felt in my childhood. It's interesting. It's something new, and I thought about COVID that a lot of people have this experience in our lives, like a turn moment. I don't know how is it in Russia we say поворотный момент. It means that the moment when something turns. Yes,
point. Sure,
yes, turning point. And
or crossroads.
what was your the most interesting or biggest realization at that period? What was COVID for you? What you get from this period?
My biggest realization from the COVID period was that propaganda works. Okay, and I saw the propaganda that my government. Do you know that word, propaganda? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I saw the propaganda and the hate that my government used on its own people to convince people to get vaccinated, to convince people to stay home, to convince people to wear the masks, to convince people to stay away from each other. Never in the history of the world have they locked down healthy people. Always before, they would keep the sick people away from the healthy people. They never tried to tell everyone to just stay away. This is the first time in history that has happened. So my biggest takeaway from COVID is that the propaganda works. They convinced everyone that the vaccines were the perfect answer. They convinced everyone to turn against people who didn't get vaccinated or who didn't want to follow the rules around COVID. And in the United States, the government did many, many things that it turns out were illegal for them to do. They forced people out of their jobs. They forced soldiers out of the army. They forced nurses and doctors out of the hospitals if they wouldn't take the vaccines. And it turns out in the United States that was illegal. They didn't have the power to do that. But at the time, everyone thought that this was the right thing to do. And you know, especially for me as a Jewish person, I've always wondered, how could the Germans have actually believed what they did during World War II, right? Because the Germans were very intelligent, very educated. Germany was the heart of universities, literature, engineering, medicine, science, and the propaganda put out by Hitler, by the National Socialists, it worked. They got people to agree with it. Even if they didn't believe it, they agreed and they did it. And that's what I took away from COVID, is that the government really does have the power to force people to do things. So.
I have a lot of...
And I think Russian people, they understand this at a very deep level, how dangerous the government can be. Because the history of the Soviet Union was so terrible to the people who lived there, right? Russians have seen the most evil things that a government can do to its people, so they feel that in their hearts in a way that the Western Europeans and U.S. people just don't.
It's so interesting that I feel the same, that we live in a situation where something control us, what we need to do, what we must to do, what we have to do, and nobody asks why. Nobody asks why I need to death for my country. Why is it important? Who told that it is important? I don't know. It's I think all this situation about the propaganda, about this reality of our world, that show us that all we need to do is believe ourselves, our feelings. If we had any, I don't know this word when we, what is this?
Indecisive or undecided.
Yes, and when you don't understand something, maybe to try to find answers in yourselves, and the truth, all the truth inside. And people people don't. It's not about that people wanted to do like that. It's not about that. It's their shame. It's not our shame because nobody teached us to think another ways, to criticize maybe all your thoughts and try to understand, is it your soul or it is your brain which record the thoughts of another people. It's very important to catch your thoughts and look at it and try to understand, is it yours or is it not yours. Yes, and I'm very happy to have a conversation with you because you're a person which I hear, because you share with me your thoughts, your experience, your point of view on this world.
Well, it's really great to talk to you as well. I really appreciate the things you have to say, and I appreciate you listening. There are certain people in this world who are more comfortable being told what to do. They're actually happier when the government, or whoever, maybe it's their father or mother, maybe it's their husband or wife, they're more comfortable when they don't have to think and make their own decisions. Mm-hmm. And I don't see that in you being that type of person at all.
And it is so good to live the life when you make your own decisions.
It's good, but then also you have to pay the price if you made a bad decision. Mm-hmm. You have to be able to, understand that and move on and sort of look at it. And, when I owned my business, if I succeeded, that was on me, and if I failed, that was on me. I couldn't just, blame everyone else. It was my responsibility, good or bad. So.
Very comfortable to be with you in the silence. Thank you so much. Thank you.
It's been very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.